I'm not sure, Joe. We'll take a look at that later. Maybe the wrong option was chosen. We've always done it before with just click one click in all of them, but we'll take a look. All right. Good morning. So the day before the holiday was motionless, pretty much. We'll see where things are going to get going here today. Since we're at the end of the month, and it's the end of the quarter. I don't have quarterly charts up here, but you can get where they are. Just was an up bar. Most of the things that we look at. So I put the monthly chart down here, and as you can see, uh, daily, weekly, monthly, all in uptrends. I think this monthly chart, we've talked about it before. Um, while having the biggest implications for continued movement to the upside, meaning this was the move that we saw off of the Corona disaster, and then the 2022 correction, down to support, and then the move up, and that long consolidation. Sometimes we call that a bullish price action. Not really the classic downside shakeout pattern, because it wasn't much of a sideways here, but it's still common sense. There was some this congestion over there. So long period of consolidation, and then the pullback to support and the wide range bar igniting. Now we're just looking at the Dow just to review the type of things that we look at. And so far, it's just each month, bar by bar, a green bar opens in the area of the prior bar's close and continues higher. Last month had a little bit of a dip. You can see the tail there. And it closed near the high. So two things that, oh, there's always more than two things to think about. First of all, that bar closed near the high. Right? So when I see a trend that's going up like this, right, first of all, it's okay. It's strong in this time frame. It could correct a bit, wouldn't do any damage to this time frame at all. Uh, minor support could pull back that far. Maybe it won't. And a bar that closes at its high, when you see prices advancing, and they got like this little tails, right? This little apprehensiveness about continuing higher, and then you get one that closes at its high. In the back, you should just think, you know what? All of a sudden, it's going up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in a row. Good morning, Sebastian. 5 months in a row, and the bar closes at its high. It's like, hey, that's bullish. That's great. But all of a sudden, there's no hesitancy about buying into the close. Now, we know on an intraday basis, things could pull off like that. Because a monthly chart is not going to affect it very much. Not much happened there last last week at the end of the week on Thursday, and so on. So there's no wide range bar, and sometimes we get a wide range bar ending. We don't have that, but it is coming up to a whole number. We're looking at the Dow here, and why the intro screen says Dow 40,000 today, this week. I mean, with an uptrend like this, if we can't get a push to and above 40,000, you got to wonder, hey, is it getting tired? We'll see. Well, the narrow range day was day before holiday, so it didn't mean very much. It should continue higher. Last week, a couple of times I spoke about, you can see it here in the Dow and in the S&P, the potential for a breakout bar failure. You can say, well, what's that? We had a nice consolidation there for several weeks. Prices broke out. It closed with what I'll call a minor topping tail bar, and then an inside bar. It's resting again after this rest. So it's kind of, why is it resting? Why didn't it just continue higher? Maybe it's the holiday, whatever. There's more news coming, economic news. We've talked about that till blue in the face, the Fed rate cuts and all that. Anyway, just technically speaking, when we see that bar, you set an alert, and this could be on a 5-minute time frame. If you're an intraday trader, it's a heads up kind of a pattern. It doesn't always follow through, but if it breaks that bar's low, just like any pattern that suggests what's going to happen next, prices tend to go all the way back down here. So we don't know if that's going to happen, but this last week's low is an important low, which is not only is it last week's low, it's minor support. And this advance, right, that week, which was a bit of a range expansion week with the minor topping tail, prices accelerated from there. So, and that was this several week consolidation. What should happen here is it either just goes up, or maybe it chops around here this week, waiting for the news. But technically, right, theoretically, we don't care about the news, but of course we do, because it's going to affect the market day to day. But just technically, what it should do is just, if it's going to consolidate a little bit, if it comes down to 39,600 or 500, give or take, it should pop right back up again. And that's what this suggests. If it breaks down here and closes below last week's low in the 20 MA, the depth of retracement says this is a bit of a problem short term, and then we'll just take it from there. We'll see what happens. Okay. All right. Spiders. What are they doing here? Up a little bit. They were higher, up above the highs here. Got a little bit of a rejection. Maybe it means nothing. I've got the minor support right here, marked off. There's last week's low. There's your potential breakout bar failure. It's not a failure yet. It's a potential. Be aware of last week's low. It's a narrow range bar. Ideally, it consolidates. If it comes down to minor support, you can see it dipped right off of there last week. It should come right back up again, and so on. Same analysis. Uptrend, right? So on. So SPX. So it's unchanged, and the way this has been over the last, I guess, week or so, is that the strikes have been in between about where prices have been. The ranges have contracted from about 50 points a day. Right now, they're down to about, just see, 26 points a day, which, from where prices are here, they're far enough away just toward the strikes. And the strikes day to day have not been hit. And so while we look to choose one versus the other, neither one has been getting hit because things haven't been moving. That being said, things tend to start moving after they haven't been moving for a while. Now, if we look at, and this is an interesting point about this advance that's been going on, meaning you see here, this tight consolidation. This is some of the things I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming 365 event that I'm going to be doing this month. You can register for that. I'll drop a link later. But historically, this is nothing earth-shattering, but historically, larger moves occur from, sometimes we talk about winding the spring, tighter consolidations. Tight consolidations are displaying certainty. So when prices advance like they did here, and then they're tight versus, this whippiness you got lots of pivot highs and pivot lows that are far apart from each other, where here they're tight. Right? And now here they get wider again. And then things advance, where the bars are about equal in range, and that displays certainty, and it goes up again. And now, we've got these overlapping bars. So this is what we call a self-correcting uptrend, this area here. As the bars overlap each other, it makes pivot highs, higher ones, and it pushes up. But there's always this, one step forward, two step back, another step forward kind of thing. But that changed a bit over here, where it advanced with some authority, potency, and what makes what I'm talking about here pretty important, because once you come out of one of these periods of uncertainty with this authority, it should keep going up. And so that's our expectation, that it should keep going up. That being said, we're setting an alert under last week's low, just in case, right? No harm in that. So strikes are equal apart from where prices are. Prices are kind of unchanged here this morning, and we'll see what today brings. There's some economic numbers coming out at 10 o'clock, right? And even 9:45. So if you're ready to press the button at the open, that's all well and good. But just, there's going to be some influential numbers coming shortly after the open. SMI, manufacturing orders, construction spending, SMI, manufacturing employment, PMI, global manufacturing PMI. So a whole bunch of stuff coming here. Oh, and then all this week, there's a bunch of economic reports this week. And most times it's kind of like in the latter part of the week, Thursday and Friday, but there's a lot of stuff coming this week. All right, this was last week. We talked about this bottoming and kind of went up, and then things died, meaning just nothing happening before the holiday. All right, transports, very positive, going nowhere. A lot of over whipping bars here going back and forth, but positive that they got back up to the top of the range again. Every time they get to the top of the range, they stall when they go back down to the bottom of the range. So now we'll see if it can go sideways there and stay at the top of the range. But again, that's a positive that the transports are participating. Ideally, they'll break out of this range and continue to go higher. I look at IWM. Because they're up at this pivot high, but they recovered from the pullback to the 50. And, well, I got the monthly chart here. You can see it closed above all those pivot highs. Now, there's this little bit of congestion right there, but based on clearing these pivot highs and this little consolidation, and this should continue to go up. So the Russell, the small caps, should continue to go up. I don't know what gold is telling us, Robert, to tell you the truth, because, I spoke about this last week in that, we can go and look at that. But look, oil kind of makes sense, right? Gold futures are broken out to new all-time highs. Why does gold go up? Inflation, uncertainty. Well, in part, I'm real sure it's telling us that the majority believe that the current administration is spending its way into oblivion. And so, but in that case, why is the dollar going up? Why is the dollar going up? If there's all of this concern about, spending this money, but spending all of this money is creating inflation, and that adds liquidity. And so the stock market goes up. It's not good for us and many other things. But as far as pumping this liquidity, well, the stock market likes it. Line chart here. We talked about this head and shoulders pattern was whipping up and down. It went down. It's up here this morning a little bit. Everybody's waiting to see what the Fed's going to do. But, you have the dollar going up. I moved things around here this morning, the other day. You have the dollar going up, grinding up, while short-term interest rates are inching down. That typically doesn't happen. And so you got the dollar advancing, you got gold advancing, and you've got, where this gasoline is starting to inch up again. Agriculture looks like it's ready to go to the moon. It's extended. Of course, it went vertically here. So there's more inflation. Why is the dollar going up? You got commodities going up at resistance now. We already looked at oil. Last week I mentioned this is starting to, well, it's in a downtrend, but it had a nice advance. You got these other commodities starting to bottom out. This is down near major support. And things like copper had been that's the miners, but that's going up. Here's copper. Buy setup, that's going to go up. Look at copper stocks. So market's a little some things just don't make sense based on historical things. Here's the 10-year. We talked about support, resistance, about a 50% pullback into the moving averages. It's flipped up here this morning. So I think this is something to keep an eye on this week, whether this pushes back up toward this level after a shallow retracement. And I think in part, this is why this market is moving higher in that self-correcting uptrend versus a more certain type of behavioral pattern. Let's just say as it's advancing. So what does that mean to us? It's like if we see patterns that are moving up in this way, and there are quite a few, that means you're going to need larger stops to take advantage of the trend if you're going to trade that time frame with patterns that look like this. Because, call it uncertainty, call it climbing the wall of worry. When prices advance, like I showed you like this, the majority are in alignment. Now you say, well, the majority are still in alignment, Greg. Yeah, but they're constantly uncertain about the continuation of that. And that's why we call it a self-correcting uptrend. It just continues to advance, but hey, up all the way back down, up all the way back down. But as I said, now it advanced as it did. I'm going to get going here. Bitcoin consolidating. Here's the monthly chart, greater than 100% retracement. It's likely to consolidate a bit for now. We looked at gold, silver. Looks like it's going to move higher. Top of the ranges there. You always got to look to the left. And I think we pretty much covered everything. So is the dollar going to continue to go up? The euro looks like it's going to continue to go down. And a month or so ago, it looked like these were going to soar and the dollar was going to drop. And now Bitcoin, British pound all the way back down again. Australia looks like, I don't know, it's kind of moving averages all tight, and I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what Canada went. I guess I got to put it back in there. But anyway, here's the yen consolidating here on major support. You know what they did with their interest rates lately, but look how tight that is. It's like nobody wants to do anything. Right? Is it going to hold the support? Is it going to make the next dive? Set some alerts, even if you don't trade it. So we'll see what this week brings. There's the futures. They're moving lower as I speak. So a little rejection there, but doesn't mean too much. Support's right there, but a little uncertainty creeping into the markets here. So all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Sound check, please. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm on my headset because it's horrible. Shoot, I'm on my headset. But I just got an error saying I had to restart. Um, all right, let me try taking it off like I did last time. Hold on.
All right, sound check. Is that better? It's just the laptop mic. All right, cool. Wow, that's interesting. The laptop mic works better than the headset. All right, excellent. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Hey, Alex, does April Fool's Day mean that I should compliment Sam, your assistant, today? Tell him he's quite a marvelous trader and so forth? All right, let's go through alarms. Not many earnings, open positions, watch lists, do the normal routine. But yeah, upper right here, Greg just showed you spiders were up. Many of us were patiently waiting for the futures to open last night. I saw them up 13. They were up same this morning, but now kind of giving it up. So we're neutral here at the open on Monday morning. Yeah, I saw Triple M down. So that's a spin-off, that's kind of like a split. So I don't know what it's going to do. Alarms here. Amazon alarm, relative strength, well, it's not Friday's high, so that's going to mess me up whenever there's a holiday. Gap into Thursday's high. So this we have as a put spread plus, I would say 30-minute high. Well, it gives us time to make sure the gap's going to hold, see what the market's doing. But that looks fantastic as a directional also. Alex mentioned MA buy setup, came in hard. There was no premium for put spread, but gapping up here a buck or so, maybe 15-minute high. When I say 5, 10, 15, well, here I'll turn mine up too, Greg. Hold on. Whenever I got it on max now, but that's the volume for me. So whatever. It's a judgment call of how aggressive you want to get in. 5, 10, 15, 30. When everything's in alignment, I have a pro gap over resistance, market's fine. I'll do 5-minute high. But Monday's less aggressive, SPOO's coming in, so I'm not in as much of a hurry. Yeah, let's look at those. And then Alex CCJ, yeah, gap breakout, and also Greg just showed copper. Let's look at some copper stocks. I remember PCU, but yeah, that one got bought out. Other alarms here. Darden, beautiful 15-minute day and 3/4 base. So Darden looks fantastic. Now see, this one is more ripe to get on board. So this one, I would say 10-minute high. As long as it just holds its strength, day trade, your stop would be under this closing 15-minute pivots. Swing trade, obviously going to give it more. So that looks fantastic. BWXT alarm. It's not, I don't see volume, but my 104 alarm went off. That's just bullish all time frames. Qualcomm alarm. Okay, so now that failed. Qualcomm was up, now it's down. So let me reset that alarm. Where are you? Qualcomm, reset the alarm. So that was a false alarm this morning. Said G, nice bottoming pattern. Also, my 72 alarm went off, but that's a bottoming pattern. Square, I'm looking at to get into a third lot or long. over Thursday, Wednesday's high over this red bar. Bullish weekly, monthly. It's an inverse head and shoulder monthly with a smaller right shoulder. ARE regional banks, up alarm went off. Looks good. Let me reset the alarm on that. SEMO alarm. Nice buy setup, gapping up. Well, see, my alarm went off, but it's not liquid. Let's look at it, see if there's any earnings things. Go to my watch list. These were all earnings, dollar stock, garbage. Zero, garbage. Garbage. Yeah, we're at the tail ends. It's a dollar stock over the counter with 4 decimal places. It's up 3 bars. Lassie, sloppy. Cassie. All right, LI, these are not earnings, but we had a couple delivery releases. So LI, little gap up. Neo, power downtrend looks horrible. XPEV, same. Although, look at the 15-minute chart. It's gapping up from this, end of day base with a void. So the daily, weekly are horrible. But I would say 15, 30-minute high, that could be a day trade maybe. Tesla has been a dog. I said they're going to raise prices. Oh, and they have delivery later in the week. Curve, I think, was earnings 588. Gap's too big. SEG, it's too extended. VST too extended, but wow, look at this. Hey, do you remember Greg said on the monthly, whatever index he was talking about, wide range ending? Now, this is a good example of that. Came out of a base on the monthly. Last month was big, but I'm sorry, 2 months ago was big. Now, March was even bigger. And look at daily, weekly, accelerating. We're this Wednesday, we're talking about moving averages. This is a great example of that, of using Climos with moving averages. The 20 far from the 50, far from the 200 is accelerating. So this could be a short-term exhaustion top. Let's actually set an alarm at 69.30. Because then it would trade under this 15-minute base, and this is a square top. So momentum is totally stopped there. Just lose VST. VST. Look, it's already going to hit my 69.30 alarm. All right, Amazon pulled in here, so we can reset that alarm. Let's set an alarm here, VST at 69. And so don't forget about it. On YouTube, yeah, that Triple M had a spin-off, so I don't know how to read that. If it's like a stock split, then I kind of just ignore it. But I don't know. It's a nasty gap. If it was not news per se, I would be looking at this to see if it could take out a 30-minute high as an exhaustion gap. So I really wouldn't mess with that. All right, Amazon here, it came in, so let me reset the alarm there. That was a put spread for us. And I said directional 30-minute high I like. Go through the alarms going off. All right, see, XPEV. See, I mentioned day trade, but I don't trade in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, our Baxter alarm went off pre-market. Yeah, I already gave new instructions, but that looks good. I'll put Baxter here. I'm on my laptop, so I have my beautiful 6 screens. BWXT. All right, that was a false alarm pre-market. LI, ICLR, LI, I'm not messing with those. Nice. Hey, ICLR, a lot of congestion here to the left, but this pattern suggests it might grind through it. I think this was a SAM IM trade, maybe. A Dell alarm. Oh, we're already in Dell. Okay, cool. So Dell's an up alarm. Cool. Let me reset it higher. 17. Yeah, that went against us last week, but we sat through it. SEMO, yeah, SEMO's a clean hit. Yeah, that was. Let me hold on. Let me check the actual entry because my alarm went off pre-market, but that was a false alarm. SEMO over 77.17, so that's a clean hit. And I'm not talking about Alex when he was in the mafia doing a clean hit. I'm talking about I took the gap over the entry and it's good to go. 77.18.
Semiconductors start off on the right foot.
Baxter out. Yeah, well, actually, I'll move stop days low now. 4304. Argen is triggering. Clean.
QCOM, if it closes like this,
Qualcomm.
yeah.
Yeah, we have it as a put spread, but yeah, I like it as a directional too. Yeah, my alarm just went off. Qualcomm, so the put spread is triggering.